Hi, I'm back. It's been a while since I've done a One-Liner Wednesday. I am Kelly Hyde, and I am the indie dyer for Peggy Jane Fibers. And you can find my yarn at peggyjanefibers.com, and I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, although Instagram is the best place to find me. So we are here today to talk about my new One-Liner Wednesday, which is called Stop Acting Like Me, You're So Obnoxious. And I did indeed say that. So we'll talk about that yarn in a little bit. I feel a little chatty today, so I thought I would chat it up. So it's summer, and you might have noticed that I'm in a little bit of a change of scenery. I'm actually in my basement right now because we're having a heat wave, and it's really hot. It is 88 degrees in my dye studio, and I am not dyeing up there today, although I would be dyeing up there if I were up there. That's so bad. And so I said, well, I'll go down to my basement. It's okay down here. It's still not great, but it's certainly better than trying to record my podcast in this very, very heated environment. So that's where I am. It's summer, which for me is really exciting because I'm a teacher. Most of you know that about me. I'm a math teacher. And I had a really stressful spring because I was looking for a job and I wasn't getting a job. And really, like, it sort of gets to this point when you're a teacher and you're looking for a job, like, time is up. And at the very last minute, I got a job that I'm going to be so happy with. And so that took a lot of the stress off. And so I found that out like literally 2 days after the school year got done. And so now I can spend the rest of my summer relaxing a little bit, dyeing yarn and knitting. And I love the summer months for me, not just because I don't have to work, that is lovely, but I have space in my head to think about ideas for my yarn. And I don't have as much time during the school year. And if you're a teacher, you know, like in some ways, teaching is very, very consuming. And so I don't get to spend as much time thinking and doing, and in the summer I get to do all that, and so I'm pretty excited. I have lots of ideas, and you might have already seen one of my new collections that came out, my Dirty Yarn collection, and that was a lot of fun to make. I had made the Dirty Orchid and the Dirty Teal quite a while ago, and then I just had this idea. I was like, why don't I do a whole line of those yarns? And you guys have been loving those, so thank you for that if you've bought some of those, and if you haven't, head over to my website and check them out. So I've done that. And then of course, today is July 1st. So if you're involved at all in the yarn community online, you know about the Tits Out collection started by Countess Ablaze. And I also am, I've done a Tits Out yarn, and a lot of you have already seen this. This is my version called Remember Me. And of course, it's called that because I'm donating $5 for each of these skeins sold to the Alzheimer's Association, because you guys know that my mom passed away from early onset Alzheimer's about a year and a half ago now. And so it's really special for me to be able to offer this. This is a limited edition yarn. Wow, look at that. This microphone is really, hello. I'm gonna move this. Where do I move this microphone so it doesn't pull my shirt down? Speaking of tits out, oh my goodness. Hopefully that's a little better. So I'm donating $5 of this to the Alzheimer's Association. This is a limited edition yarn. It will only be available through the month of July. It's a pre-order. You'll see it if you go on my homepage. There's a link, and I'm feeling really self-conscious now, but I think I'm okay. And so this is a really pretty yarn. I did knit up a swatch of this, and then I also am putting this in my scrap, my scrap granny stripe blanket, which is so funny that I call it a scrap granny stripe blanket because it's so not scrap yarn. Like, I go up to my studio and I'm like, oh, I think I'd like to use this yarn, and I'll take a whole skein of yarn, cake it up, and get going on it. So this is what it looks like crocheted. And I always think it's so interesting to look at the hand-dyed yarns crocheted, because they always look so different than when you knit them. And I love them just as much. And I actually did this whole section in this granny stripe. It's really hard to hold this up. That are my one-liner Wednesdays. So this one is She Knows All the Lyrics. This one is Don't Make Me Yell, I Have a Sore Throat. This one is I'm Not Living With Her. This one is I Can See the Dewiness. And oh yeah, so that's those 4. And then I will put on this week's One-Liner Wednesday. And then of course I have Remember Me on there. So I love this scrap yarn blanket, and that's been fun to work on. I've been in a little bit of a knitting rut. Like I have some projects started, but I'm not really working on too much. And then I put a whole bunch on this blanket. It's mindless work, you just keep going and crochet them up. And so that's been really nice to work on. And then just yesterday, I started another project. So this is called, I'll show you this pattern. This is called Down the Road and Back Again Shawl. And it's by Megan Williams. I keep my patterns on my iPad in Notability. So this is the pattern. And I saw it, I loved it. It was a very impulse purchase. Like I certainly don't need to start any new projects right now, but I saw it, I loved it, and I just thought I have to make this. And I chose some yarns. So my sister doesn't watch my podcast, so I'll just say, I decided I would knit this for my sister for Christmas. And she happened to see, she was looking at my website and helping me with my website the other day. And so she was like, oh, Kelly, I love that iron oxide. So this is my iron oxide. And this is from my No Pink collection. And I love this yarn too, but I don't know if I would actually wear it. And I don't have any clothes this color. So I mean, what am I going to do with it? But she really liked it. So I picked this color. And then this color actually doesn't have a name yet. And it has all these, there's hair all over my yarn. This is from my kid, I swear. And it has all these different colors in it, like some rust. I feel like there might be too much pink. She doesn't like pink. So this is actually going to be in my shop update this week. This is a one-of-a-kind colorway because I messed up. I was making the farewell colorway and it just came out wrong. And so I was like, I can't sell this. So I turned it into a one-of-a-kind colorway. And I think together these are really beautiful. And when you're doing this shawl, it works really well to have one sort of variegated and one more solid looking. And I've done a tiny little smidgen, but look how cute that is. So I really love it. And I finally get to knit with this iron oxide, which I totally love. And so I'm pretty excited about that as a project. So that's kind of what I'm working on. I feel like it's sort of lame. I mean, it's not lame. I made a sock. This is my issue with socks. I made one sock. I can never get the second sock done. So I need to do the second sock, and it's just a vanilla sock. And it's not even a long sock. It's just a little cuff. It's got a little rolled cuff. I don't even have to go up the leg. You think I could get that sock done? Maybe I'll take that with me tomorrow. We're traveling tomorrow for the 4th of July week. And so maybe I'll start that because I like this pattern a lot, but it's a little fiddly to work with. Like I have to concentrate. And it won't be good to take with me on this trip because I have to be present and talk to people. So it would be better if I had a vanilla sock. I'm gonna bring my other sock to work on. I'm very excited. Okay, so that's kind of what I've been working on, all kinds of things. Now let's talk about this One-Liner Wednesday. So let me show you the yarn. And I love this yarn. I love the whole idea of this yarn. So I love the yarn itself and I love everything that it stands for. So this is the yarn. And it's got all these raspberry colors and it's got all these turquoise colors, and there is very much symbolism behind not only the colors but actually the way that I laid the dyes down in the pan. There is symbolism to that as well. And of course it's a hilarious One-Liner Wednesday. So this is the yarn, and I'll show you the swatch that I knitted up, of course, because I like to show you what that looks like. Super pleased with this swatch. Super pleased with the way the yarn came out. You know this about me, I don't like pooling. And I was really able to get this yarn so that it really it's variegated with the speckles. And I absolutely love it. So let me tell you the story behind this yarn. Stop acting like me, you're so obnoxious. So this yarn is about me and my best friend Allison, and who is also my cousin. And if you see my other one-liners, this yarn right here, this blue and green one, that one was about Allison. And so you were sort of introduced to her in that One-Liner Wednesday. And so if you want to know a little bit more about her and see a picture of her and me, actually a gazillion pictures of her and me, you can go back and watch that podcast. So this is a new story about me and Allison. And for those of you who if you haven't seen the other podcast and you want to know, Allison is my best friend. We've been friends for 24 years. We are also first cousins, and we grew up together, but we were not friends growing up. We are very much the tightest of friends now. So when summer comes, we get really excited because we try to spend as much time together as we can, but it's hard. She has 3 children that are 6 years apart. So she has, I think, a 15-year-old, 7-year-old, 15? Maybe she's 13 or 14. Anyway, like 14, 7, and not quite 2. So that's a pretty big span, all really great kids. And then of course I have my daughter who's 8. So for us to try to find time together with just the 2 of us is really hard. We spend lots of time together with our kids, but we're with our kids. So we finally were able to spend some time together last week. My daughter was at Girl Scout camp, so she was gone for the whole week. So I was not a parent last week. It was so bizarre. And Allison took a day, and we were able to get away for the day, just the 2 of us. And we just went shopping down to Burlington, and it was really nice. So, this Allison is sort of the calm friend. She's very thoughtful in how she sort of acts and behaves. I, on the other hand, am a pretty frenetic, high energy, impulsive. She's just the opposite of that. And I consider her to be the smart friend. She'll love it. She'll watch this and she'll love that I said that. She's a very, very intelligent person. That's what I mean by thoughtful. It's not that I'm not thoughtful. I see her as being this super intelligent person who has these really good ideas. She listens really well. She does all those things. And I, am rash and all those things. I don't know, whatever. It works. But it's important to know those little quirks about our personality. So we're in the bookstore down on Church Street. And we were talking about our kids and reading, and my daughter is a reluctant reader, which breaks my heart, and Allison knows this. And we are talking about getting our kids to read, and my daughter is just coming out of her shell, and she's starting to really want to read. And so we're in this bookstore, and I see these books, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And I said to Allison, I just bought this book for Lila, and she really liked it, and I want to get the other ones. And this is hilarious. And Allison interrupted me. She was like, nope, I don't want to hear it. And I was like, what? But she really, nope, I don't. And I'm like, but Allison, but let me just tell you. And she's like, no, I don't want to know. I don't like those books. And I was like, no, but just let me. And finally I was like, stop acting like me. You're so obnoxious. Because she would not let me explain why I wanted to get these books for Lila. And she was just insisting that they were terrible books. And it was really funny. And we immediately started laughing because usually I'm the one who's like, no, I don't want to know. I have my ideas. I don't need to hear what you have to say. And she's like, but Kelly, if you will just listen. And it was just this complete role reversal. And so for me to say to her, stop acting like me, you're so obnoxious, was completely hilarious. And needless to say, she did let me explain why I wanted to get those Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. But that's, as soon as we said it, she gets on her phone and she posts to Facebook to our cousin John, who you met in my first podcast, Don't Make Me Yell. I've got a sore throat. And because that is a funny thing to say, frankly. And she was being obnoxious. She was being just like me. So we laughed about that, and I immediately knew like that, of course, was going to be a yarn colorway. That's going to be a one-liner Wednesday. And then, our afternoon wasn't over, and we were trying to figure out, I was trying to figure out like, okay, so what colors will that be? So I have this name, I have this funny story. What are the colors going to be? So then we go, and we are ladies of leisure, relaxed. We go to get our pedicures, and because we're kidless and we have all the time in the world. And we were laughing. So I was wearing this shirt, which is like, my favorite color, any version of pink or maroon or whatever. I love this shirt. And my bag matches this shirt, and the toenail polish that I picked out matches this shirt. And so I had this nice little kind of color theme going. And of course, Allison is also wearing her favorite color, and I bet you can't guess what it is. Yeah, it's the turquoise, of course. So she's got like the turquoise shirt on, she's got the blue bag, and she picks out blue nail polish. And we hadn't noticed this earlier in the day, but we're sitting there as we're waiting for our polish to dry, and we sort of like look at ourselves, and we laughed, and we were like, this is pretty funny, like we are in our favorite colors. And then of course I was like, oh, those are going to be the colors for the yarn. And so then the next day I had to figure out how I was going to lay the colors down. I knew I was going to use these two colors, these turquoises, and these berry colors. And then I have different yarns, and I lay the color down in different ways. And I had drawn out my sort of diagram, and then I like with the blues on one side and the berries on the other, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. I was like, here's how you're going to do it. And I striped them. So I did a blue, and then a berry, and then a blue, and then a berry, and then a blue, and then a berry. And as they mixed in the pan, you would get these secondary colors, which is where you see these little purples come in. And to me, that, I know this is so corny, but it's very symbolic of our relationship. It's just how we come together, and we make this whole new color all on our own. And just the way the colors are nestled together next to each other in the pan is just sort of the way Allison and I feel about each other in real life. So, and then of course the speckles in this yarn, I did one set of speckles that was pink and one set of speckles that was turquoise. So I don't think of any yarn I've ever done that it was so symbolic of real life. And so I do really love this yarn. I hope you love it as much as I do. It's available in my shop, and it's on sock weight yarn. My everyday sock, and I'll probably put it on a couple more bases, some MCN and some Posh Merino at some point. But right now this is what's available, and so that's the story of Stop Acting Like Me, You're So Obnoxious. I don't know, that's that. I am thinking like, I don't have anything more for you today. Maybe a couple things. So I'm gonna start doing regular shop updates in my shop. So, and you can see this on my Instagram. I'm going to shoot for, I'm not going to shoot for, I'm planning for, better way to say it, every Thursday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to make a, right on my homepage, a link so that you'll know what's new in the shop by going to my webpage, so that if you come back regularly to my webpage, you can click on that and it will take you to anything that's new in the shop. And it might not be a new colorway, it might just be that I restocked some yarns that have been selling out, but you'll know, like, here's what's new since the last time you came to the shop. And so I think it makes it a little bit easier to kind of find things and to know what's updated. You don't have to go through everything, although I encourage you to do that. So there's that. And I have other things planned coming up for the summer. I will have a shop update this week, even though I'm going to be gone, because I've gotten everything prepared ahead of time so I can just click on it. And so there'll be a shop update this Thursday night. And I have a lot of one-of-a-kind colorways coming up this week. Three different one-of-a-kind colorways that are all pretty cool, pretty interesting. So hopefully you'll check it out. And don't forget, the month of July, grab yourself a Remember Me skein, because that's it. 1 month. That's all you get. These are pre-orders. Everything will be mailed out on or before July 31st. I think there's 31 days and 30 days. Half September, April, June. Yeah, 31st. July 31st. I love it. I love this yarn. And so I can't wait to see what pretty things people make with it. And I think that's it. So thanks for joining me. And let me know if you have questions or comments, because I would love to hear from you. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.